bro, what? Say mine, bro. We got the obsession with black men. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's go and watch these join together, bro. Come on.
6'7", 313, extremely long arms, underclassman, still 20 years old. He flashes. Look at the lower body, just huge. He's got dancing feet with that lower body. It's unbelievable. Look at the body. Look at that bubble butt.
Look at that bubble. Bruh, shut up, fool.
What? Look at that bubble butt. Is that not a crazy statement?
Thighs. I mean, that's their power generators right there.
And this next clip is even crazier, but the audio is a little muffled, so you really got to pay attention.
5'9.5", 210. 5'9", 210. 441. Okay. 9 3-inch head. 8.5 inch.
That person you just heard talking is Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. I understand knowing the stats of your players, their height, their 40 time, their wingspan, but why do you know their meat size? What am I missing here? What type of freaky operation is the NFL running?
One of the things LeBron has, and I've never seen anything like it, is intuition. If he was a sea captain and he was in control of the Titanic, it would have never hit the iceberg.
Bro, oh my God. Stop glazing, fool.
I've never seen a guy that can see problems before they happen.
Yeah, it does get to a point, because what am I looking at right now, bro? Like, what is on my screen, gang?
Bro, is that not crazy? Not playing. It's LeBron, so I understand. I mean,
bro, come on. You in on it too? Bro, I'm the only one that don't get the LeBron glaze, cuz.
LeBron glaze. We all glaze LeBron for real. It's very...
I mean, I really don't, though. Like, he cool and all, but, you know what I'm saying? He's just a basketball player, fool.
justifiable. He probably wouldn't have crashed the Titanic. But no, seriously though, all jokes aside, today we're going to be talking about the fetishization of black men. And honestly, this still sounds crazy to me, even though I'm the one saying it. But recently there's been this trend on social media where these guys are basically fantasizing about a big black man attacking them and them having to defend themselves and stand up against this big black man that's going after them. I know this sounds crazy, but just watch.
Back.
When the 6'6" dreadhead starts squaring up because I was running my mouth a little too much.
Well, I won't back down.
And bro doesn't know how to shut up, so now my 5'10" ass gotta dance with the 6'5", 250 and lean dreadhead. When the 6'5" dreadhead starts squaring up because I was running my mouth a little too much. And I'm sure you've all noticed they're using the same song with the lyrics, and I won't back down. So they're basically just trying to say that they're not scared, they're not intimidated by a black man. Which, I mean, for you to even be thinking about this type of scenario unprovoked says a lot about how you feel about black men. When the 6'5", 250-pound dreadhead lays my boy out in the 9 jams. POV, you're a 6'5" nonchalant dreadhead.
I want to work with the nonchalant dreadhead. No, I'm going to work with the nonchalant dreadhead.
Oi, baga.
When the 6'4" dreadhead squares up because I said the no word too many times. When the 6'4" dreadhead starts squaring up because I said my favorite word too many times.
Well, I won't.
What plays in my head while the 6'7"
What's your favorite word, then? Because we ain't just gonna square with you for nothing.
they keep getting taller. What plays in my head while the 6'7" dreadhead squares up because I said my favorite word too many times? It's an A, not an E, buddy. Okay. When the 6'6" dreadhead squares up because I said my favorite word a few too many times. When the 6'4" dreadhead squares up after I said a no word too many times. When the 6'4" dreadhead starts gripping his waistband after I use my favorite word too many times. So we got some people just being racist, because why are you using the N-word to begin with?
Like, bro, what? Come on, bro. Like, look
and
at
then we
y'all.
got some people being racist and they want to get into an altercation with black men and possibly be able to use their 9. And then our final destination is them turning into the 6'5" nonchalant dreadhead.
I want to work with the nonchalant dreadhead. No, I'm going to work with the nonchalant dreadhead. I want to work with the nonchalant dreadhead. No, I'm going to work with the nonchalant dreadhead.
Baga.
And I want y'all to keep in mind that they're making these TikToks unprovoked. They were probably just vibing on a random day and just thought, let me make this TikTok about what
No, they probably just seen somebody else posted, and they see somebody else posted, and they see somebody else posted. Like, they just some followers, bro. That's all they is.
would happen if I got attacked by a big black man. And now what I'm wondering is, how often do they think about big black men? And what other thoughts do they have about big black men? Do big black men haunt them in their nightmares? When they're walking with their girl, do they think, oh, what would happen if a big black... No, I'm playing. Let me stop.
Bro, this trend under the audio is so fucking cringy because it's literally just people doing shit like...
No, baby, it ain't just that. It is what you said. It is so weird that they glorify harming black men. But you wanna know what it really, really is beyond that? They're attracted to tall black guys.
Duh. That's why you infatuated about them. That's why you keep making videos about them, bro.
And they're so attracted to them that they have to misplace it. Because they can't admit to themselves that tall black guys are their type, so they have to change the attraction into anger.
Now, I don't know if that's the whole truth, but I definitely feel
It's definitely some truth to them, not gonna lie.
like there might be some truth to that, because I honestly can't wrap my mind around why this trend would come about unprovoked. Like, what caused you to sit there and just think to come up with this trend and be thinking about black men that much? Brief intermission. I'm trying to get to 100K subs, so I'd appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe on this fetish. When you reduce someone to a stereotype, they're turning black men
We trying to get the 5K over here, man. You straight? Shit, keep grinding.
into a fantasy or an object
Go subscribe to bro, though. I ain't gonna be on no hate, man.
rather than a whole, complex, complete human being. And I know some of you might be asking, what's the big issue here? You see, when you remove the humanity from someone, it becomes easier to do things like putting the Mandingo stereotype that used to be on black men. Black men were portrayed as these wild, lustful animals who just want to everything. And I know this might come off as a stretch to a bunch of people, but even things like the original King Kong movie might have possibly played into that stereotype, especially considering the era that it came out in.
A group of white men, accompanied by the quintessential white woman, traveled to an uncharted island inhabited by native savages who worship a giant black beast named Kong. The men capture the beast and bring him to America in chains.
We'll give him more than chains. He's always been king of his world, but we'll teach him fear.
Sound familiar? Not long after, the beast escapes his captors and steals the woman. She is saved by heroic white men who kill the black beast and reunite her with her intended mate. Whether Cooper intended to or not, Kong can be interpreted as an allegory for the American slave trade and interracial relationships.
And in modern times, the Mandingo stereotype has turned into the Tyrone stereotype.
Oh, it's making more sense now. Okay, King Kong, like King Kong.
You know, this black alpha male who's just going around sleeping with people's wives and is super promiscuous. And one of the things that really played into these stereotypes and made them worse were adult films. They were literally playing out certain people's fantasies of a big black man, you know, taking advantage of a woman or being promiscuous, sleeping with someone's wife. Just some really sick stuff.
This may be surprised, but if you ask me, white men probably fetishize black men's bodies the most. Although not always sexually from a space of gratification, but through this vicarious consumption of black men's bodies. We see it mostly to me in sports, but also in porn, in the arts, etc. We see it in how white men sexualize and castrated black men during lynches. And the most heinous acts of white terrorism from the past, from Rosewood to Tulsa to St. Louis, were often in the name of protecting the virtue of white women from black men. Basically, since slavery, black men's sexuality has been imprisoned by this intersection of racist and misandrous violence. And over time, as with many cultural taboos, in a conservative society, it has turned into genuine fetish and kink. Myths about the size of black men's penis, black men as excellent lovers, the celebration of idealized black men's physiques, a bevy of sex toys meant to resemble the mythologized, disembodied phallus of black men, along with more than a few jokes, tropes, and myths about black men's sexuality. Things that aren't only fetishized by white men and women, but men and women of all races, black women included, and black men as well. Black men today still participate in and or reject this image and what that means for us in terms of sex. To start, and this is something that will be repeated, of all the things stripped from us as men, this mythology is one thing that, while distorted, we still have some level of agency over, and in many ways it's a key component to some of us finding avenues for success and personal capital through our arts.
And I know some people might be wondering, what's the issue here, bruh? It sounds like you're suffering from success. Well, the issue arises when everyone starts trying to fit you into a box. People start thinking that every single black man is supposed to be super tall, super muscular, and have a super huge you know what. And yes, those stereotypes aren't as harmful, but there's the other stereotypes of black men being super aggressive, violent, that also end up being paired with those stereotypes. And so when people believe one, they usually believe the other as well. And this doesn't just apply to black men, it also applies to black women. For example, for a very long time, a lot of people thought that the black woman is somehow much tougher than every other woman. They just assumed that black women were less fragile, they're able to endure more. And that stereotype ended up growing to the point where it started affecting black women in health. Because certain doctors thought that black women were tougher, they would do things like give them less pain medication, or not give black women the same care they gave to non-black women.
Black women are more likely to die or have complications during pregnancy or childbirth. So let's talk about it. So much of why this is because of societal and structural racism. What does that mean? It means all the toxic stress and the racist things that black women face every single day in their lives. When a person is faced with chronic stress, their body responds by releasing stress hormones. We know this. This is a medical fact. This is not open to interpretation. So imagine being a black woman constantly exposed to racism every single day. So where does that leave us? Black mothers are more likely to develop preeclampsia, diabetes, need to deliver by C-section, have babies that are born small, and much higher rates of preterm or premature birth.
Trigger warning. The risk of a black woman dying in childbirth or shortly after is 3 times that of a white woman. Maternal mortality increased by 14% in 2020, and black women were disproportionately represented in those numbers. In 2019, 754 women died in childbirth. In 2022, it was 861. And though black women only make up 13% of the population, about a third of those women were black women.
I hope you learned something from this video. And here's a little cheat sheet if you're ever wondering, am I appreciating or fetishizing? Would I still be interested in this person if they weren't black, Asian, Latin, or whichever POC you're interested in? Do I know anything about them besides what turns me on? Have I?
All right, bro. At the end of the day, bro, I'm gonna let you do your yapping. But me personally, I feel like this whole topic is really kind of stupid. But you know what I'm saying? I guess that's what y'all care about, fool. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a body. You know what I'm saying? Just a color that your body is, gang. Like, we all come from the same source, literally, fool. So don't even take that serious.